Now you're ready. All right. What's up, long players? Welcome back to the Long Play Listening Party, the show where we go deep on local music, writing, recording, inspiration, gear, and whatever else sounds good to us. I'm Howie Howard, one of your hosts, joined by my co-host, Nate Holt, Astrology's Music. What's going on, Nate?
I'm Nate Holt.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, I am.
All day, every day. Great. So it's just Nate and I tonight. We're going to talk about some things, including some musical things, but wanted to start out with a little restatement of purpose and values. This is stuff we've talked about before. I think if you've been listening for a while, none of this will come as any surprise, but it never hurts to mention it again, and there's a reason that I'll explain a tiny bit about in a sec why I'm saying some things again tonight. So, number one, Black Lives Matter. Nate and I both believe that unequivocally, and I think it's fair. I'm going to say for myself and my part in the show, Nate, feel free to chime in. I think you'll agree with me that we are striving to be anti-racist, both personally and, through the show, or that vibe and that value should be present in the show we're putting out. You with me?
I'm with you.
I know you are. So we were very gently and respectfully called in recently by a friend of the show who had some information to share, some background information that Nate and I were not aware of, that they wanted to share and just make known to us to inform how we do the show going forward. We are super appreciative of that info and thank the person who shared it with us. We appreciate the manner in which it was given. This person stuck their neck out a little bit and was vulnerable, and I think it's fair to say, Nate, that we love this person and we appreciate the calling in that they gave us. You still with me?
Agreed.
And so at that person's request, I asked that person how we might deal with this. They basically said it's just background information. They didn't request us to do anything. They requested not to, go into any details or mention any names. But I felt like I wanted, for myself and for the sake of the show, to not open anything up necessarily at this person's request, but just, restate those values that we are striving to be anti-racist. We're not perfect, but that is certainly the ideal that we are aiming for. That and I think, again, Nate, I'm not trying to speak for you, definitely chime in, but I believe in trans rights for trans people. I believe in women's equality and liberation, and those are the types of values that we are trying to live by and trying to put forward in the show.
And I think that it's important to state that again now, especially with the environment, the current environment, with, I really want to speak with some vitriol. I'll just say that, I think it's disgusting what people think they have a moral obligation, quote unquote, to condemn, because it's really none of anybody's business how people want to live, how people want to be, how people feel like they, I think everybody should be comfortable, feel safe, and when you have people that are actively doing the opposite and making promoting fear and just completely just misinformation and hatred. It's just disgusting, and I just want I think it's just that time to reiterate how we feel, because this show is it's about music, but it's also about people's stories and people's lives, and we don't want to not include anybody for whatever reason. I mean, I'm not saying this as clearly as I would like, but
no, but I agree with everything you said, and yeah, there's still a lot going on, isn't there? And
it's I don't want to say I don't understand it, but my mind just is, it's just
I feel
I don't have words for what kind, like just how just unnecessarily, just I'll say it again, disgusting that people for whatever reason feel like they can treat other human beings, and especially people who claim to be pro-life, and yet they are basically devaluing other human beings. And I want to be more vocal, and whenever it's like, and it there's a situation and you might feel like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm a little nervous, I say something, but then you have to think, if you're nervous about saying something, think about the people that have to live in this environment. I mean, that is it really saddens me that's what some people have to go through. So I just want to make sure that this is I think a good platform to speak up, and I need to try to be more vocal in other ways and more present, but I think this is one way that we can both speak our feelings and communicate that to anyone who listens. And
yeah, absolutely. And there's no way, we can't wait until we feel completely comfortable to speak up, right? I mean, that's too late. And you never reach that moment. We have to speak up through some amount of discomfort in order to get there. And I mean, we've touched on macro, huge national, state, international things. We touched on a micro thing kind of with the show, and some, we were, at a minimum, we were not as sensitive as we would like to have been on something, and I feel bad about that, but I appreciate being called in on it, and there's just nothing to do except apologize and make amends and own up to it and commit to doing better moving forward. And I don't want to overblow kind of the thing, but I don't want to underblow it either.
Well, and I think that it was good that it was addressed. Like you said, I appreciate the info, and that's all we need to. That's
yeah.
I think that just reiterating these things. That's all we need to talk about. I think I
think we covered it. And if anyone thinks we didn't, please get in touch and let's talk about it. But for now, let's change topics a little bit and talk about what's coming up for the show, for the Long Play Listening Party, because there's some change coming. So at the time, listeners, that you are hearing this, that will be on or somewhat after June 21st, I think. We have 3 more regular episodes planned for the summer, or 3 more regular recording sessions, which will yield 6 episodes. So we have 6 normal episodes planned for you at this point. At least one question Monday, and maybe some others. That's kind of TBD. But following that, from August to December, regular episodes will be the kind of episode you're used to, with 45 minutes to an hour and a side of a record, typically. That kind of thing will be intermittent at best, perhaps non-existent. Instead, you may get a mix of very occasional one question Mondays from Nate or I, if we feel like it and have the right guest. I'm going to kind of turn the editing and posting keys over to Nate. He's had them all along. We share them, but that's a role I've fulfilled for a while, and I'm not going to fulfill for the late summer and fall. We'll try to come back.
Go into the reason, or you want to kind of keep that?
Sure, yeah, I was getting there, but the reason is I'm anticipating adding a family member in probably around mid-August is my guess. This is very happy news for my family and I. We are super, super excited. I need to be extremely limited in what I say in a public forum. Privately, if you know me, I'm saying a little bit more. But this is Carrie Ann and I have wanted children for a very long time, and so this is super exciting for us, and I can't wait.
Congratulations.
I'm pumped. I'm super pumped. Thank you. So yeah, that's kind of why there will be some scheduling changes. I just have no idea what life will be like, and I'm intentionally just clearing out lots of time to let those early months just be whatever they need to be, and I can just be present for Carrie Ann and our baby, and super looking forward to that. We will try and come back and do our big kind of year-end best of type of call. That's always fun. People love that, and certainly expect by December can put that together at least. And then, we'll kind of probably take January off like we typically do and take stock and see where we want to go and what we want to do. And I think I can say we don't know what that will be at this point, right? So much life will happen, at least for me, for all of us, between now and then, that there's just no telling what
life
January will bring.
Yep, for sure. I guess I will say, for my part, and best laid plans and all that, but I would like to continue a regular schedule. it may just be, it might be, every other week or something. But we've discussed, what we use to record the show and everything. There is a potential to actually basically do, stream it live. So, instead of seeing us post videos where we recorded, I may be hopping on Instagram and going live. And if I can keep, if I can make it happen, obviously it'd be best to do that on a regular basis, whether it is every week or every couple of weeks, so that you kind of know, 8:00 on Tuesday evenings or whichever night it happens to be, you can get on Instagram or whatever and just watch it live. If you're into that, we'll still post the episodes, but I've talked to a couple of people about potentially co-hosting, and there's obviously a long line of people that we've noted that we'd love to talk to, or love to listen to music and get their stories. And so I'm hoping that I'll be able to continue the show so it's not so sporadic, or just kind of keep it going on a consistent basis until how.
Yeah, and not just, I don't want people to think we're just trying to keep the lights on here at the Long Play listening part. Like, this is actually an exciting time to try some different things and, try live streaming, try maybe some music live from the practice space, and so trying some different formats, trying just by necessity, some different recording techniques and editing techniques, and, some really cool stuff might come out of all these experiments. So, we hope
you can be floundering around for 5 months until.
Sometimes you don't know the difference till a year later.
That's true too.
I mean, this whole thing was
maybe that's what I do anyway.
This whole thing was kind of an accident, right? And I was just reminded. So, I've been working. I don't remember if I've said this. I think I've maybe mentioned it briefly, but I've been working with Daniel from Hypermortal and Lovecraft and Softcore Syndicate, and he's been on the show several times. I've been working with him on a record of synthesizer, funky electro music. And anyway, I had not told Corey Kibler about that collaboration. So just yesterday, I was like typing out to Corey the whole kind of backstory on that, and who is Daniel and how do I know him? And it's because Dark Satellites played with Hypermortal many times back in the Jurassic Age and all this stuff. But I realized that like Daniel's kind of the reason we have a show, right? Because we did the first listening party for Orbital Debris, and then Drew put out the Dark Satellites record, the May You Live in Interesting Times. It's like, that was like very much still like stay at home. So, okay, we can't play a show. We'll do a listening party for Drew for that album. And as I recall, it was Daniel then who emailed and said, oh, hey, I'm paraphrasing, but I like what you're doing. I have a record coming out. Could we do a listening party for my record? And that was the moment that was like, we could have guests from kind of outside our immediate collaboration circle and kind of make a regular thing of this. And that's when we kind of stepped back and retooled, or maybe we did Daniel's show and then kind of went and figured everything out and kind of launched everything. But as I remember it, it was really kind of Daniel's request that sort of kicked us off in a way.
Yeah.
So that was cool to remember.
Back to me now.
Wow, that song too.
Is that a Celine Dion song?
Yeah. Or at least she had a big hit with it. I don't know. I don't know if
she sang it.
I don't know if anyone else sang it first. or
maybe she wrote it. I don't know.
Or what?
You
I don't know if she writes or not.
It's just yeah. I mean, they find someone.
It's certainly
to say,
it's
here's
certainly
a song for you. Please sing it.
Yeah.
Sing it because they're talented, and then they make lots of money.
I bet I'll have to look this up. I bet she doesn't write everything. She might certainly write, but I bet at least her albums are like a mix of songs that were like submitted, or chosen for her and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, you've got people like Diane Warren that just probably it's got to be what you would say thousands.
Probably.
Yeah. Of songs.
So I don't know. Are we ready? Do you want to say anything else about what we're doing with the show, or shall we talk about some Semper Viridis?
I don't think we need to talk too much more about the show. Like I said,
okay. I don't think I have anything else really to say about the show.
I'm just hoping that I can make it work to where we're not just sort of off the map totally. And I would like to try. I mean, I think we've talked about sort of making it a live show a few times, and I think now we have the platform that we can do that with not a lot of effort, or at least it won't be too complicated. So it's kind of going to be on me to try to test that out and see how that works. I mean, there may be some silly content just as practice, and
sure, making sure
if it's worthwhile and not a waste of your time to see it, and it's entertainment. Depending on the entertainment value, you may see some of the.
I told you I'm yours to do tech support and training until August 1. And then I'm cutting myself off.
I'm gonna have to set up a couple of sessions probably.
But yeah, so hopefully we've been listening to Semper Viridis in the show so far.
Yeah.
Nate and I are not listening to it right now, so we can't comment specifically long play style about it, but I will edit it into the to the posts. So this is what have we been listening to? This is an EP that's coming out when?
Yeah, so it's an EP. It's going to be released. I think actually we set it to release July 13th, but if not the 13th, the 14th, and the 14th is when we are playing the release show. That's going to be with Monta, which formerly Monta at Odds, with DJ Ray Velasquez spinning in between sets, and I don't think it's I might get in trouble, but I don't know that we're trying to keep it a secret. We're member of Monta, I won't say which member because they'll keep a little mystery there, but is going to do a remix of one of the tracks, and we're hoping that DJ Ray will play it.
Sure.
Super cool. But
will it be like a premiere kind of situation?
It'd just be a premiere, yeah. And then probably be released at some point too. But it's a it kind of just came about naturally, organically. Kirsten Paladin is my partner in that, and we perform together in a couple different groups. Heavy Petty is one of them. Our friend Benjamin Cartel is another, and I think what happened was I think that was the year I was trying to do like a song a month. So I recorded a song every month, and I'd have vocalists come on, or try to get some guests. And I think at some point, I think it was a practice or something, Kirsten, I think it not mad, but just kind of was like, why did you ever ask me to do this? And I was like, I had no idea you'd be interested. And from there, just kind of like, hey, I'll send you some stuff. She sang on it, and it was like yeah, we're going to do this. This is going to be great. Or at least we are going to think it's great because really,
Yeah, that makes it great. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of our thing. It's like, if we like it, that's
You got to start there.
That's the point, If you can enjoy it, then, hopefully that will translate and other people will enjoy it as well. So, it's been really fun. Like I said, it's, things just kind of are, at this point, and we'll knock on wood, like they, kind of fall in place when it seems like, something has to fall in place. And, it's just kind of like the universe saying, yeah, yes, do this, go for it, keep going down this path. So that's just kind of how we're thinking about it. But, it's, she has a really good ear and eye for, artists, art concepts. She's a fantastic singer, multi-instrumentalist. And I've been I'm somewhat, I don't sing or write lyrics in any sort of capacity that I would want to put it out there in public. So, it's really, really nice to have, that other kind of piece of the puzzle and input, and just fun. It's just a very healthy, creative outlet that we're both, really grateful for. So, yeah.
Do you want to talk about, before we started recording, you were telling me about the videos.
Yeah. So, and I should mention that the EP is being released on Mixtape Meditation, which is our friend Jared David label. He actually runs a handful of labels, and he's just a multi-talented guy. I don't know how he has time to learn and do and everything, all the stuff that he does, but he Kirsten had some footage, pictures. I sent him some stuff that I had, and he put together 2 videos that I have to say are probably the most professional looking things I've put out in my music career. And Kirsten feels the same way, and we can be more grateful for that just kind of extra hand and extra motivation, and he's one of the most positive people I've met.
Can confirm.
Yep. And so I can't wait to put those out and for people to see them, because they're I legit, like,
and what channel do people need to follow, or
you can follow our social media? I think Instagram is essentially that's just kind of where I live for the most part, like primarily.
So if you follow Semper Viridis on Instagram, you'll find out when the videos drop.
Yeah, and we'll have them on YouTube and all that. But that's. I think we have a Facebook too, but it's tedious to try to keep track of all these.
Yeah,
accounts, but,
especially when you're in multiple projects.
Yeah, that is.
Does Semper Viridis have a YouTube channel, or will it be on the Mixtape Meditation channel, or do you know about that?
That is a good question. I would bet that they'll be on at least the Mixtape channel for now, until we kind of get the Semper Viridis channel up and operational and to where we can pay attention to it, because you can easily do and get into too much that you
you got to go through and heart all those comments,
right. Well, you have to put up content.
I try to do a good job of that. I try to I try to engage with the engagement when there's engagement.
Oh, and just as an aside, I did get your feedback on stuff that I sent you, and I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
that's
that
one
was
thing. That's one thing about Howie that is very consistent, and I think awesome that you are a very intent listener. You take time to listen with a purpose, which is something I am not that good at. I try, but you are very consistent at that, and I think that's really cool.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I hope what I aim for is I'm not always the first to respond to things, but I do have a good system of keeping track, a pretty good system of keeping track. And so if you send me something, it might take me a month or two, but I will listen and get back to you about it. And that goes for everybody, not just Nate. But yeah, it does. It sometimes takes a while, but I get there.
Send Howie everything. Send Howie.
I think it goes back. I mean, of course, I love being listened to closely, and so that's like, golden rule. That's what I try to put out for others. But I think I've loved that for as long as I've been involved in music. But being a music director at a college radio station really honed my ears for you get. I mean, I loved it, but even at a small college radio station, every week, we got a stack of 20, 30, 40 CDs,
right,
to kind of go through. And so it really honed my ear, at least to my specific taste, maybe not to everyone else's taste, but I have a pretty good, my first reaction is pretty accurate to my taste. I don't generally need to listen to something 3 or 5 or 10 times to know if it's clicking with me or not. Once in a while, something surprises me on the second, time or whatever. But for the most part, I know if it's got the juice just for my ears, right, for whatever that's worth. But usually the first listen, I know if it's got the juice for me or not.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what we'd be listening to now, but I'd imagine probably something of yours.
Maybe. So we're 33 minutes into the recording. So if we're out of Semper Viridis at that point, we can either repeat it, or I can throw in some night mode from the recently released Continuing Worlds, which we did whole podcast episodes about. And as we talked about on the podcast, we listened to the 65-minute or so selections from kind of playlist version. But of course, that leaves I can't remember, but something like 2.5 to 3 hours of music that you haven't heard on the podcast from that project. It's the length of a 5 LP set. There's no physical LP. It's all just on Bandcamp and streaming. But and it is finally on Apple. The Apple was delayed, but it's up on Apple. The link is up at MrFuriousRecords.com if you want to see it on Apple Music. But I can think
we could. I should know this, and I don't, and I'm going to embarrass myself, and I apologize in advance, but I can't remember if the Creepy Jingles have put out something recently.
Oh, that would be sweet. I have not noticed if they did, but maybe you're breaking news here.
I speak with no authority or anything, but if not, then we could. I wouldn't mind throwing a track or two up from them.
Sure, yeah, that would be great. Obviously, we love the creepy jingles. And listeners, we did an episode with them like year and a half ago. So listeners, if you have not listened to that episode, definitely go back. It was a good one.
Yeah, I am anticipating new stuff from them. I won't say anything else, but I'm looking forward to hearing some of the new stuff.
That's good news in everybody's world.
It is. It should be. If it's not, you gotta rethink.
If it's not, that's a you problem.
It is very much a you problem.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't think I have any other news to break. Do you?
I don't know that I broke anything.
Right.
Other than, I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
So listeners, maybe we'll let you go, and I will be back on Monday with a One Question Monday with Jerry Chapman, and I will explain who Jerry Chapman is on that show. But I haven't recorded that yet. We're recording tomorrow night, and I'm super looking forward to that. And then we will be, we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming for 6 weeks. Season 3, the end of season 3, kind of, and into our experimental web.
The abyss.
And
what happens.
Hopefully not the abyss, but the wide open blue skies.
Okay, that's
maybe
much more positive.
And yeah, we'll see you there. Until then, it's been the Long Play Listening Party. Later.
All right.